Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the Upper Tier podcast. If you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video, all that good stuff. Beautiful fresh Thursday morning here. The sun is shining real fresh here on the east coast of Ireland, but we thought we'd jump on and do a little FA Cup reaction show. Also, don't forget to join us tonight at 9 o'clock for Thursday Tier Talk. Myself and Darren will be on your screens with Beat the Bookie, Premier League preview, all the latest news, FA Cup reaction probably from Darren as well. And Mark might be joining us as well, because we'll be doing a course, a Manchester Derby preview within that show as well, which get the thoughts of the two boys, both being Man United fans. But let's get into this FA Cup reaction show. Interesting results last night. We'll go through the whole rundown of the results. Coventry 5, Maidstone 0 on Monday. Then Tuesday we had Bournemouth versus Leicester, 1-0 to Leicester in extra time. Bournemouth will be disappointed with that, I think. Blackburn 1, Newcastle 1. Newcastle going through on penalties 4-3. Blackburn giving a very good account of themselves against Newcastle. Luton 2, Man City 6. Haaland and KDB turning on the afterburners, tuning up for that big game at the weekend, that Manchester Derby, of course. Chelsea 3, Leeds 2, the late show from Conor Gallagher, 91st minute winner there. Chelsea going through, especially after the disappointment of Sunday in the Carabao Cup. It was big that they came out, and honestly really important for their fans that they came out and gave a display against Leeds. Leeds put up a real good fight as we expected, but just falling short. We have to say as well, with some of these teams as well, Leeds heavily involved in the championship title race at the moment, and also Southampton, so kind of fielding weakened sides, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we discuss in general the FA Cup. Nottingham Forest 0, Man United 1, Casemiro laid on. Talk of Varane being offside and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in a bit as well. Certainly Forest can feel somewhat hard done by, but let us know your thoughts on that one as well. And we rounded out with Liverpool 3, Southampton 0. Liverpool riding their luck last night, really lucky in the early stages, stuff like that. Southampton with a number of gilt-edged chances and throughout the game as well, but Liverpool coming through as they do, stronger in the second half, possession wise and all. And Jadon Dan's coming on, getting 2 goals. The first one was a beautiful chip. Of course, it was all started by Kumas with a lovely finish just before half time. Slight deflection on it and a bit of luck there as well, but certainly interesting from these young lads at Liverpool at the moment, really shining at the moment. And you know, hopefully for the next round and stuff like that, as we seen with the draw. Let us know on that. Man United versus Liverpool at Old Trafford. We got Wolves versus Coventry, Chelsea versus Leicester, Man City versus Newcastle. All ties to be played. Paddy's weekend starting out the 16th of March. Let us know your thoughts on the draw. Couple of the talking points coming out of it last night was, one, the shine of the FA Cup. I love the League Cup and the FA Cup, the history and all that kind of stuff. But is it starting to lose its shine? We seen last night now, the announcement is, you know, if you get through the quarterfinals or whatever it was, you're guaranteed 450 grand. You know, the money in both these cups now, because of the way the financials have gone in football, really dilutes its importance and stuff like that. And we seen it last night. We have Leeds flying high in the championship, trying to push Leicester all the way and get an automatic promotion place into the Premier League. We have Southampton as well, gonna have a say in that and a say in the playoffs, no doubt, depending on what way it all flushes out. But these teams last night coming to Liverpool and Leeds going to Chelsea, fielding weakened sides initially. Although they brought players on later on and stuff like that, they certainly looked as if that the FA Cup wasn't really the priority for them, and that the priority is obviously promotion out of the Championship. And we can understand that as well, because the riches of getting to the promised land of the Premier League far outweigh the riches of the FA Cup, unless you feel you're going to go to Wembley and you're going to win it, and then of course you create that bit of history. But the likelihood with Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle, all these Premier League teams being in there, the likelihood of Leeds or the likelihood of Blackburn or the likelihood of Southampton going all the way is pretty slim at this stage. So naturally they would be prioritising their situation in the Championship. Can't afford to get any injuries. We're on the run in now. These guys are so close to getting promotion they can literally taste it. But let us know your thoughts on that. Has it kind of, if you're in that kind of situation, surely as a club, if you're contending for the championship and the playoff spots, that has to be your priority to get back to the promised land. Especially for Leeds, who we know took years to get back to the Premier League and then fell back out again and really need to bounce back. Some of the other talking points that came out last night, one was the Casemiro goal for Man United. I think it was in the 88th or 89th minute. The goal looked very similar to the goal that was chalked off by Van Dijk in the final of the Carabao Cup. And yes, of course, we'll get the show where, Howard Webb and Michael Owen come on and they go, Varane's shoelaces were red, so couldn't be ruled offside and all this kind of thing. The goal couldn't be chalked off. We'll get all the stupid technical jargon and bullshit that they come out with. But the reality is, both goals look very similar. 3 days previous, a goal was chalked off. Tonight, or last night, then the goal was given after a VAR check. Let us know your thoughts on that and let us know what you think about that as well. But are we seeing something here, some sort of a thing in relation to, should the draw be done prior to the fixtures being completed? I know the question was asked last night as well. For me, the draw should never take place until the fixtures are completed, because what happens is, from a human perspective and especially from an officiating perspective, those draws can potentially influence decisions. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, if and this is just my opinion, so give me your opinion in the comments as well, but if that goal was scored at the other end by Forest and Morgan Gibbs-White was offside or Elanga was offside, would the goal have been given or would the goal have been chalked off? Obviously, Liverpool going to Old Trafford is a massive tie that can happen that weekend. Paddy's weekend, massive amount of broadcasting money coming in for that game, massive amount of sponsorship coming in from that game, and everything else that goes with a game of that size. The two biggest clubs going at it on Paddy's weekend in the quarter-final of the FA Cup is absolutely massive, and much bigger, no disrespect to Nottingham Forest, way bigger than Liverpool travelling to the City Ground that day. So let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know what you think. Should the draw be done after the ties are completed so it doesn't have some sort of influence? These people are only human. They can be influenced by it. And let me know your thoughts on it. Am I reading into it too much? But for me, I think Forest could be aggrieved a little bit this morning about what they seen last night. And I don't know, if I was Nuno and Nottingham Forest, I'd be asking a lot of questions. Now, you could argue, did Forest do enough to win the game last night? Or I didn't get to see the game, I was obviously watching the Liverpool game, so you could let me know your thoughts on that, Forest and United fans. Who deservedly would have went through? Could Forest potentially have gone through in extra time? Would United have got it done? Would either have won on penalties? Who knows? We're talking about future stuff there, really. But let us know how you felt about the Casemiro goal in comparison to the Van Dijk goal in the Carabao Cup final. And are we seeing potentially the draw being done before the fixtures having potentially an influence on decisions? Is that the case? Also, let us know what your picks for the quarter final. Who do you see going through? Can Liverpool get some players back, even though Klopp might decide to keep the youngsters in terms of their involvement in the squad and travelling to a big stage like Old Trafford in the quarter final of a cup to experience that kind of pressure, even if they might not get a lot of minutes and stuff like that? To be around the squad would be unbelievable for those young lads, and they've done a stellar job since they've come in. Bradley, McConnell, Clark, Dans all come in, and that 16-year-old boy last night, the youngest player to play in the FA Cup. All brilliant stuff, but being done out of necessity rather than being done out of any structured kind of plan. Can Liverpool get some players back for that game? Massive game at Old Trafford. We'd like nothing more, of course, than to go there and put United out of the cup. United, it's a kind of a last chance saloon for them in terms of the FA Cup. They are still trying to push for European spots and stuff like that, but my think is they may struggle in that area. Lots of talk coming out in relation to Eric Ten Hag, and he might have lost the dressing room. He's had a falling out with Rashford. Lots of stuff going on at United at the moment. Talk that United are looking at a potential new manager. Once you hear that kind of thing, not great news. So are they just going to kind of see out this season, taking on the chin wherever it lands, and then replace Eric Ten Hag in the summer? Let us know your thoughts on that as well. But can Liverpool get some players back from injury and put out a solid 11 against United in 2 weeks' time? Paddy's weekend, It's going to be absolutely massive. Most people off that day. The pubs will be packed, the drinking will be flown, and most people will probably have the Monday off as well. So this is going to have huge viewership. It's going to do huge numbers and stuff like that. So it was really, really important for the FA to get that game, to get that tie to happen. Southampton versus Forest just doesn't work for them. We love the romance of the FA Cup and stuff like that, but when you're talking on levels of broadcasting rights and sponsorship deals and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't touch United versus Liverpool, and I don't think most ties would. And you seen the talk coming out of the draw yesterday. Most of the talk was about Man United potentially versus Liverpool in the quarter-final of the Cup. There wasn't much talk about a whole lot else. So you can see how the influence, even from the studio right down onto the pitch, and how it could happen. But again, as I said, let us know your thoughts. Just a quick reaction to the FA Cup. Let us know your opinions on these things down in the comments. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the championship sides fielding weaker kind of sides, which is most unusual, going to the likes of Liverpool and what was the other? Liverpool and Leeds and Chelsea, of course. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on all those things. If you could, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. Like I said, 9 o'clock tonight, Thursday, Tier Talk. Don't miss that show. Always really, really good banter, chat and analysis on it. And we will talk to you again real soon. Cheers, folks.